All right, guys, welcome back to Unbreakable. I have a fun-filled episode that we're gonna get into some really great stuff today. And I was just th saying to myself, I'm like, this episode needs to be created because what I keep seeing right now is everybody lacks quite a few essential human characteristics that I think a lot of people are not calling out enough. And I think it's essential that we bring them up and we talk about these things because the longer that we don't, they're just like everything's just gonna go to shit, basically. And I'm at a point in my life where I'm just like I'm looking around, like I'm kind of waiting to see like if someone else who's older than me is gonna call it out, and no one actually does. It's like, okay, are you serious? Like, and then the older generation, literally, you know. The older generation basically sits there and is like, oh, Gen Z can't do this, can't do that. I'm like, but yet you can't even lead yourself. So here we are, right? So let's get into the first topic of conversation, morals. Morals dictate what you should or should not do by just, human standard. And quite frankly, my morals have always been do the right thing. But that's subjective for a lot of people. Sometimes people think that doing something correct is just, I don't know, screwing over your friend to get to the top by any means necessary to be successful, right? That's one moral that they can have. Or another one could be, I don't know, sleeping with your best friend's uh partner just because they think that that's the right thing to do, just because they're lonely and they're insecure and they're jealous of you, right? You have to do what you feel is right. And the only way to really think about and do what's right is simply by the fact that you're abiding by the law and you're abiding by the Bible. And the simple morality code that I've lived by is the Bible. Like the Bible, especially in the book of Proverbs, has all the morality and the boundaries and the standards you guys have to have for life. That book will clock you faster and check you than some other mentor ever will. Like for real. Like you want to know how you should start thinking, go read Proverbs. I'm telling you, at least 5 verses would literally blow your mind about what you think can and can't do in life. And morals right now where they are is for the last 30 years, everybody's watered down the standard, right? So everybody doesn't know what's moral anymore because they're thinking to themselves, like, okay, morals are subjective. They're not. They're standard. And 30 years ago, before all this crap, they were the standard, right? So do good, treat everybody the way you want to be treated, treat people, with kindness, love, and respect, and give everybody somewhat of the benefit of the doubt. Now, some people just don't deserve that. That's another conversation for another kind of day. But that was basically the standard. Give everybody respect, give everybody the credence to actually be able to speak their mind and be able to diversify their patterns of thinking. And what I keep seeing is that we're not giving people that. Instead, what we're actually doing is condemning the bright young ideology and the bright minds in order to change society. Because the older generations have said to themselves, like, oh, well, the system worked just fine for us. I don't know why Gen Z or the millennials are basically coming in and changing shit. No, it's not what we're doing. What we're doing is bringing back to the standard of human morality. Guys, and this goes for business owners too. Listen up, like Gen Z is not lazy. Okay, Gen Z is very hardworking. What they're not going to tolerate is they're not going to tolerate having bullshit, you know, policies. Prime example of this would be, I don't know, asking them to stay later at work and not paying them. Just because some boomer did that for you does not mean some kid is going to do that for you. And no, they shouldn't even have to listen to that or stay while, they're not being paid. Like, who the fuck do you think you are? For real. Who do you think you are? Who do you think you are asking young kids to stay just because someone else did it? What? You want to lower their standard just so you can brainwash them just like you got brainwashed? Are you for real? Like, I'm sorry, I hate to laugh about such a serious topic, but I mean, my God, like, you're really putting it out there that Gen Z has to fall for the same indoctrination that all you did. And my generation, when I speak on behalf of them, and I talk to a lot of kids in my generation, they all feel like why am I following these bullshit rules? I'm like, yo, I hear you. I hear you loud and clear. And the only ones that are even questioning the system are us. And if you think we're bad, go try the generation after us. Because we're not that bad and realistically, we're really not. A lot of us that are entrepreneurs that are in my generation, we're very bright. We're very creative. We care about, the world and impacting the world in a very positive way. And if you don't understand that, that's not the fault of ours. That's the fault of yours. And you lost along the way yourselves in morality. And that ties back into that topic. Don't get pissed off because of the fact that you lost sight of who you are or your morals in the process of trying to get to the top. There's a way to get to the top without sacrificing your integrity or who you are. If you're naturally a good person, you're not going to let the world tell you how to be or how to act. But you folded. And that's the problem. Most people fold on their morals because of the fact that it's convenient for them and they want to get there to the top so badly because they're tired of being stuck at the bottom. And quite frankly, the longer you can handle the suck, right? I call it the crushing, to be honest. The longer you can handle the crushing phase in your life, the better off you're going to be because the hard times make the person. The hard times make the person. And sometimes you are just born with integrity, like you're walking on thin air. Like for me, I've noticed something with myself is that my integrity is so high in making content that really resonates with people because I actually care. I care to see everybody do well. I care to see people win. I care to see the little guy make it. I care about the person who's mentored me for years to want them to do well and not give up on their dreams or not give up on their aspirations in life. I care about that. But most people, and this is what I've learned in the last 2 years of entrepreneurship, the minute they can get anything you want out of these people, you'll fucking ditch them because it's convenient for you. What kind of fucked up world did I just enter for real? Or the Gen Z in general? You guys made these fucking rules, and all of a sudden you're getting mad that we're questioning them? Check your freaking ego. Check your morality. For real though. And quite frankly, you guys can't get pissed off when we're the ones being like, this is ridiculous. We're not gonna follow the rules. For what? What? Because you're threatened by our integrity. That's what you're threatened by. Our ability to potentially be better than you. To look at the situation in which you've handed us and be like, yeah, we want no part of this. And then you guys are getting mad because you realize yourselves, you're like, damn, I did fold. You did fold. That's not our fault that you folded. Maybe check yourself and be like, why did I? What? Because I couldn't handle the pain just for a little bit longer. For real? Nah, never, bro. No, never. I'll never fold, even if it takes me longer. And I know a lot of people love to talk shit about me because you know what? They can't buy real and they can't buy my integrity. And they would rather get me to water down my morals or my integrity or my standards in order to be just like them. And I fucking refuse to. I refuse to be anything less than I already am. People get envious of people like me. And quite frankly, to be compared to Gary Vee in 6 times in 3 months is fucking crazy to me. And honestly, I feel like I'm at a point in my life where people are starting to notice who I am, but people have no idea how to take me because this is a young generation that people don't even know how to handle. You guys want to be able to teach, mentor, and love Gen Z, but you guys don't even know how to handle us because your morals and your integrity are not even in the right place. If you even for fucking 2 seconds removed your ego out of the situation, trust me, you'll be able to understand where we come from. We come from a very human, integritous, moral level. Not this watered down bullshit ideology that you all have. And quite honestly, I'm at a point in my life where I'm looking around, I'm like, I don't want to be like any of you fuckers. I don't. For what? To sell out? No thanks. I'm good. I'd rather die, to be fucking honest. And on top of that, too, I think we're at a point in time where if you don't have your integrity in place, yeah, you might make it a little bit sooner. Yeah, you're gonna get to the top a little bit sooner, but you're gonna sell out. And at times you're gonna be wondering at night, damn, why did I do that? I shouldn't have done business with that individual. Yeah. And sure enough, because it's always gonna cost you something. And the unforeseen costs are what hits the worst, I think. The unforeseen cost of being an integritous individual. And sometimes the cost is high. Trust me. I'm aware and I know. And the fact that people just can't stand pain is sad because this is the part where you have to understand your own character. Your character will dictate the pain that you're willing to tolerate. If you ever felt like sometimes life has just been a fucking cunt to you, did you ever wonder the fact that maybe you're really chosen for something much greater than yourself? Think about it. You're chosen to uplift people, to help people, to choose people, and to make people believe in their God-given talents. And it may suck for a couple of years. It's supposed to. Because when you're in the suck, trust me, when you're in that phase, I've honestly learned that you're being molded for something much greater than yourself that you can possibly fathom. And I don't think enough people talk about that, the way that I think I would explain it. We teach people that you have to be like everybody else, that your morals, values, standards, and boundaries have to be like everybody else because they lost theirs along the way. You don't. Being different and sticking out like a sore thumb clearly gets you somewhere. I mean, I had a post that I made about the Super Bowl halftime show, and that shit went viral on LinkedIn. I got an inbound lead, and I got people to comment and make comments all day long on that one. I recently just had another post go viral too about using AI and writing content on LinkedIn. I mean, my God, like you guys are gonna have to learn how to be so secure within yourselves to know that the boundaries and standards and what you set are the right ones. And don't settle. And I think the longer that you guys do settle, the longer you're just gonna sell out to people. And I've been asking myself, do I make content at least on the podcast that makes people enlighten themselves, or do I make it more business focused? And quite frankly, I think it's for people to enlighten themselves. I think we don't have enough people talking about this enough. I mean, you could listen to every single podcast on the face of the planet, but who's going to tell you from the young perspective of what it's like to go through your 20s absolutely fucking broke, start a business, lose your family, lose people that you love, and then on top of it, literally act like you got it all together. That shit will literally cause like so much stress, like you don't even understand. Like people don't get it. They don't understand the cost of what they're going through right now. If you fold on your morals. That will cost you something. That will cause you, trust me, it may not be today, it may not be tomorrow, but it will be someday. It will be a day where you're like, shit, this sucks, and I'm broke, and I'm this and I'm that. At some point, you will either be broke, and sometimes it's not, broke is not about being broke financially. Sometimes being broke is up here and in here. They don't talk about that enough. Like, I thought about that the other day and I was like, wow, for people to have such a broke mentality must suck for you to breathe, dude. Think about it. Your mentality literally controls the world in which you operate in, right? The higher frequency, the higher vibration. So when your mentality and your spirit are broken, right? Like the broke, you can't think of how to move forward in the suck. So your morals fold in order to relieve yourselves of the pain. When the pain is there to mold you into the person that's worthy of being listened to. And that's what I figured out recently. I figured out that I went through all the pain that I've went through my whole life because I was the one who was supposed to inspire others out of my entire family. That I could captivate an audience much faster and quicker and better than everybody else in my family. And it takes a level of charisma in order to get people's attention. And sometimes, and if that's you, dude, you're like the 0.01% of people that can capture an audience and get people to listen to you just simply because of the fact you have something valuable to say. That you see a world that you can compartmentalize and separate yourself from and say, yo, this is fucked up. Don't why are we doing this? Why are we allowing this? And you know what? I think a lot of people don't call out the immorality these days. It's because they're so afraid of the judgment and the criticism that comes with calling things out. I think from a very young age, we all believe in ourselves to do the right thing. And somehow, when we get to our adult careers and our adult lives, and we have kids and have families and what do all the things, right? That gets lost. And I ask myself, why? Did your integrity go out the window when you were 5, or did you just decide to be a shitty individual? Like I ask that a lot. Doesn't make any sense to me. Quite frankly, I don't think it makes a lot of sense to young business owners too. Like young business owners that are in the ages of, say, easily 16 to 25, maybe 29, right? Young business owners. I think the average age of starting in business, I think is like maybe 35, maybe 40, if I'm not mistaken. I saw some statistics somewhere. So even when you come to the morals in which you have, bro, it's like you have to figure out what works for you. Are you gonna stand on business or are you gonna fold? No one's gonna be able to respect someone that folds on their standards. And it may not be today, and it may not be tomorrow, and it may not be 5 years from now. But trust me, people watch, and people notice, people see. And I think that's where having a mentor and an accountability partner comes in. I know for myself that mentorship was a vital part of my 20s. And the mentor that caught me off guard is a woman in who which I adore. And on top of that, would probably die for. if she got into some serious shit. That woman made me. And she saw greatness within me that I didn't even know I have. And still, to a degree, still figuring out. Because I think it's hard for all of us to see the potential within all of ourselves. And we need somebody to root for us and cheer for us and be the ones that tell us like, no, you just gotta keep going. Gotta keep knocking doors. You gotta keep moving when it's hard. And she reminds me all the time of the absolute mental fortitude you're supposed to have in this game that we call life. It's not even about business, really, but life will test you, and you need someone solid by your side to do this life with. Life isn't supposed to be done by itself or alone. And if I could give any advice today, if you're just starting out in your early 20s and you're like coming up on your mid 20s, like you're 24, right? The first thing you should do is you should go find a mentor. You'll learn more about fucking life and business and relationships more from a mentor than you will in sitting at a desk in college for 4 years. For real. Because I learned more about people's psychology in 4 years by talking to other people than I did in college. College really doesn't teach shit, guys. You really just don't need college to even start a business. You just need common sense. Okay, I've said that multiple times on this podcast that you just need common sense to start a business. You gotta have the fire and the tenacity to start a business. And what comes with that was mental fortitude and mentorship. That's what you really need. You need people to believe in you, and you need people to want to help you. And I have that. I've had beautiful individuals in the last 2 years come in and out of my life being like, yo, this is a weakness that I see within you. Are you gonna sit here and listen, or are you just gonna like not apply it? And bro, I listen. But it also takes the right kind of mentor too to open up to and be vulnerable. That I understand. Because I've had, not to talk shit, but like I had a very bad experience with a previous mentor that I thought shit was gonna be around for a long time. And that's probably the best thing I did, ever did was fire her. People would mistake your passion for anger. They'll call you angry when they don't have the passion or the drive within them anymore. They don't have the fire that ignites when you do something that you love. It's not your problem. They probably built a business out of survival mode or to survive in general. They don't do it because they love it. And that's something that I've learned from another individual I've recently met in my life. She literally told me, are you going to be a person who's going to be remembered? Or are you going to be a person that is going to build a business at the same way that everybody else did out of survival mode? And I was like, I choose to be remembered. I might not be a person worth memorizing yet, but that doesn't mean that it won't happen. It just takes time. Good things take time, honestly. I wish I had this piece of paper up here, and oh, I have my computer open. I will look for it. But you know, when you are going through the fire of it, a mentor who's strong will be able to guide you properly. And I needed mentors because you guys can feel free to watch my story, but my family didn't believe in my own dreams, man. And it was mentors that changed my whole perspective on everything, everything in life. the way you communicate and have relationships and do business and think about life a hell of a lot differently than other people. When you have the right circle of people around you, it's eye-opening because they won't point out your weaknesses. You'll find them subconsciously on your own. Being like, huh, I like how that person thinks. Except I don't think like that yet. Explain more to me so I can understand your perspective. And that's how you grow. By having dynamic, diverse conversations with individuals that are superior to you, not superior in like ego, but superior in the fact that their life experience or knowledge and or work experience supersedes your own. That's how you grow. And honestly, mentorship isn't something that you should need for forever though. Maybe that's subjective though. I think you at some point you outgrow mentors, specific ones. Sometimes you need a mentor on mindset. Sometimes you need a mentor on just accountability. Sometimes you need a mentor just to be able to teach you how to do something the way they did it. And that there's nothing wrong with any the different types of mentors that you need in life. We all need one at different stages and different phases in life. There's nothing wrong with that. That's called growth. And for anybody to challenge you and say that you shouldn't have different mentors and you should only have one is a fucking idiot, and you should probably fire them. Different perspectives are what's going to make you. If you take little bits and pieces from people, trust me, you formulate your own opinion. You're like, ah, I like that one, that opinion. Ah, I like that one too. I like that one. Meh, maybe not this one. Maybe not so much this one. Not that one either. And then you start hearing things that you're like, I agree with and I don't agree with. And then you're like, huh, I just formulated my own opinion, my own convictions. Different mentors at different times in your life are a good thing. But to have the same one forever and not go look somewhere else is wrong. Sorry. You evolve as a human being. You're supposed to, at least. That means that the person that serves you now doesn't serve you later. But when you guys do either depart ways or just become friends from the past or acquaintances, don't be a dick. Be someone humble enough to be like, yo, I hope you're doing well. And I'll never forget the life lessons that you taught me. That's the one thing I am experiencing now that I think I would like to think that I'm doing well is being there for people and showing up even when it's hard for myself. To be there for young kids and be able to give pieces of advice is a privilege and in a responsibility that I do not take lightly. It's one that I feel like God entrusted me with. And if you don't feel that way, maybe you need to check yourselves about being mentors to other people. You should be excited but humbled as fuck at the opportunity to be able to pass on the wisdom and knowledge to someone who's coming up on the scene. It's a gift. And and this I think this goes for if a lot of leaders start thinking like this, I swear to God, you'd have your fucking culture go like so your culture and your company would be so much happier and satisfied. Like for the love of God, remove your ego and take yourself out of the situation for 1 minute and ask the person sitting in front of you and be like, "Are you okay? You doing all right? How can I serve you best?" And I'm not talking about your job or what you do here. I'm talking about what you need as a person, as a human being. Would it kill you to ask that question? No. And that simply comes back to morality now, doesn't it? It comes back to you not being an asshole and being kind to someone. And that's gone. But you're condemning somebody at the first mistake that they make. And you expect not to be condemned at the first mistake you make, though, which is completely hypocritical and ridiculous. You can't be hypocritical and expect it not to come back to you, because it will. Life somehow humbles your ass real quick. And sometimes being on cloud nine doesn't last too long. So always remember where you started out in life. Because you're starting out in life just like everyone else. You ain't done different. You got two lungs, two eyeballs, two hands, two arms, two legs. Maybe not so much, right? If you have a birth defect, which is completely fine if you're not born with any limbs, but you're starting out like a normal human being with the same feelings, the same desires, the same wants, and the same emotions, and yet you're sitting there and being a trash human being to somebody. Think about that for 5 seconds. You're being a trash human to someone. For what? To make yourself feel like you're the man or you're the woman? No, what you are is insecure and fragile and quite frankly, pathetic. That's what you are. And I'm not the only one thinking it. I think it's everybody else, maybe on your team or it's people that are surrounded by you that think the exact same way. They're just too afraid to call it the way it is. Because they're afraid of calling it the way it is because of the fact that they don't know how to even stand up for themselves. Because they have had to lower the bar in their standards being around you for so long that you've made other people lose sight of who they truly are around you. Oh, don't like that shit now, do you? Probably because it might irritate you. Just saying. And on top of it, you want everyone else to play at the bar in which you play at, or play at the standard in which you play at, but yet you're not advocating for anybody else's growth. Oh, hot take yet again. See, the problem with a lot of people is when you start to have standards and boundaries, you get into a mode where you're thinking to yourself, you're like, yeah, I should have that. Yeah, I like that. I really do. I like this. I like that. I like this. I like that. I like this opinion. I like that opinion, right? And yet, evolution is one of the hottest things as a person you can get in life. It's like, oh, it just makes you like people want to be around you. Like, like, like the sexiest trait you could have as a human being is to evolve your opinion and your values and your standards and your morals. And when you don't, you wonder why people don't want to be around you. I can't stress this enough to young kids listening to this today. Never fold for an old fuck who doesn't want the best for you. And sometimes that's even your family, your friends, your coworkers, your boss. They want you where they're comfortable having you. Okay? They're comfortable having you where they're comfortable of having you. And that one I had to learn so hard. And for a long time, I lost sight of who I was. So I speak from experience when I say this, all of this, quite frankly. I started this podcast like a memoir to my younger self, giving the advice that I'd give my younger self because I didn't really have anybody advocate on my behalf until like now. That people finally see the greatness within me. And mentorship changed my life, though. I got my first mentor when I was 22. I'm 26 now. And so that was almost exactly like, yeah, like probably 4 years ago when I got my first mentor. And then everybody just started seeing the come up and the evolution of Sarah Chan. And when you're around people that are so healthy for you, the people that are unhealthy, they'll drag you down just so they don't make you level up because they don't want you to know anything different. They, like I said, they want you comfortable where they are, right? They want you at the level in which they're comfortable having you at. And it's a hard thing to understand when you're young. And even when you're older, if whoever this is who you need to hear from, if you're in your you're in your 30s, your 40s, your 50s, your 60s, if you've got some fucking asshole around you telling you that you're not this and you're not that, you know what? You need to give that person the fucking finger. You need to give that person the finger, dude. Okay? You need to give that person the finger, bro. Because you know what? They're just a sad sack of shit that didn't get anywhere in life, so they want to make you feel as terrible as they do on the inside. I call it the way I see it. And you know what? When it comes to making this podcast, this is just like a free-for-all. Whatever comes to my mind, I make, right? Like at this episode, I wasn't planning on making, but I was like, no, I think this is a good episode about morals and the values in which you're gonna get with mentors too. And tying this back into life and, you know, the standards that I've learned across my youth is one that takes, excuse me, it takes some people 50 years to figure out, where they're basically having a midlife crisis and they're asking themselves, like, where the fuck did 50 years go? It's not because you're a lost individual, it's because of the fact that you got taught wrong, as did I. And fortunately, at a young age, I had some beautiful souls come into my life and help me look at the things within myself that I had that I didn't know how to even articulate. And the growth period when you're having beautiful mentors and beautiful people come out of your life, coming in, coming out, you know, not only challenge you, but these are the moments that make beautiful human beings because you look at yourself very differently. And I think the best exercise I could recommend is for, especially for young kids out there, like, I want you guys to take one of these, which is a pen, and take a sheet of paper, which I'm sitting on my desk, and I want you guys to write down who you are right now. And I want this piece of paper plastered somewhere visible in front of your desk, workstation, wherever you're getting the most productive. I want this front and center in front of you. And in a year from now, after watching this, write it down on the date and the time in which you wrote this, right? And you're writing how you're feeling and journal a little bit. And a year from now, I want you to come back to this piece of paper and I want you to look at yourself and who you were, where you wrote down on that piece of paper, right here, right now, to, you know, where you'll be in a year. The hardest thing that you can do is be in the same place for a whole year. That shit hurts. When I look back on my own entrepreneurial journey, I think my entrepreneurial journey really did start when I was 22 when I was working at Saks Fifth Avenue. Um, my own journey, oh, challenged me so beautifully. It showed me who I was and who I was made of and who I'm made of. And God, like you you have people just supercharge the fire within you. And I can personally attest to this even now that when I get on the phone and I talk to, two mentors of mine very regularly, yeah, I might have like a heated debate because I'm so set in my ways, my convictions, and what I believe in. But it's good just to laugh and talk to them on a level where you meet eye to eye. They understand you and you understand them. And that day will come where you'll meet a mentor where you're like, I'm on your level. And bro, for like a long time, like I felt like, you know, I wasn't on my mentor's levels. Not at all. And little by little, I saw them like, I'm literally half your age. I'm no different than you. It's just like it probably took like easily like maybe like a year for me to wake up and realize that. And that even like a year after leaving Saks, like that was the epiphany moment for me. It's like I'm just as good as them, maybe with half the life experience. We set ourselves up basically to fail to think that they're untouchable. Newsflash, they're not. The people in who which you admire or you want to mentor you, even like a sliver of the piece of advice that you need to hear, they are not that far away, guys. And I've had the pleasure of being in tables that I only dreamed of now at 26. And I was like, this is everything I've ever prayed for. And it happened while I was young, in the midst of losing everything. And if you work hard enough, you will achieve it. And it comes from a place where I think I see a lot of you. And I see you guys struggling or wanting to be something that you want to, but you don't know how to necessarily do it. And the only thing that you're this close from achieving what you want is you saying, I'm gonna start today. Because that decision changes everything. I remember when I was literally about to launch my first business, and sitting there on the phone with the same mentor, I said, I cannot fucking stand working for people anymore. These people are no better than me, and I'm just as smart as them. But they're trying to put me in a box where I don't think I fit anymore. And once you have that epiphany, bro, light bulbs go off. You don't you don't need to be perfect, but you gotta want it. You gotta want it more than anything. This ain't me. This podcast took a lot of time for me to gather up the courage to make this because it's not easy putting out great content or making content that is supposed to, help change people's lives. It's not because you're putting yourself in a very vulnerable state, and people don't like to admit that. But if you don't do things that don't challenge you, then you're never going to grow. I heard this beautifully somewhere. I think this was on Instagram too, I think actually, that when everything falls apart and things get removed from your life, It's because of the fact that God's making space for new things that are beautiful in your life. The old things in your life cannot come into the new things. It can't come with new things, excuse me. Like, let's just hypothetically say you're wondering about starting a mindset page on Instagram, which is dope. Love that. Love that. We need so much more of that. And your friends from, I don't know, Iowa, which there's nothing against Iowa, but I just think that's a dumbass fucking state. So, you know, your friends from Iowa are like criticizing you. Bro, do you know anything other than the four walls of the town that you grew up in? What happens if it all works out? Did you ever think about that? What they're really doing or saying to you and challenging you is that they want you where they're comfortable because they're so uncomfortable with putting themselves on the line and taking a risk on themselves and betting on themselves every single day. And that's simply what entrepreneurship is betting on yourself every single day. I would I'll probably be an entrepreneur for the rest of my life. This doesn't get better than this. It doesn't. And yeah, every job has its challenges. Being a CEO is not easy. It's ridiculously hard. But you know what's harder? Taking orders from someone that you know you're more than qualified from. Think about it. And that's just knowing the standards again for yourselves. Sometimes you have to understand that your standards are always going to change when you evolve. And people don't like that. And they'll make you yet again lessen yourself and dim your light just to keep you where they are comfortable of having you. And I felt like someone needed to hear this today. I look back and all the lessons I've learned from mentors in my life, and I'm like, wow, you guys came up in a time where I fucking needed all of you. I did. And I wished for a very long time to be able to return the favor. Oof, I cry. The only thing that my mentors ever asked me to do in return for their generosity was to give it to somebody else. Except I didn't go directly to people, I just went to the world instead. I went balls to the wall. I said, you know what? Put yourself on the internet and let's see what happens. Like, you know what I mean? Isn't that the thing though? The beautiful thing about life is sometimes strangers will believe in you more than your own people will. And that's the part that fucking hurts more than anything. Don't lose sight of what's important in life. Believe in yourself enough to know that you're amazing. Don't be like me. It's only now that I'm realizing, like, I actually am the shit. And it's time to start acting like it. Believe in your hearts enough to know that you're more than capable of doing anything you put your minds to. And the people that are not going to challenge you to take that risk on yourselves are the ones that are always normally the fucking brokest. Seriously. It's like I said earlier, the brokest are always the loudest. I don't know why that's always the case, but it's so fucking annoying. Seriously. Ugh. It's like talking to people that just like want to cause cancer in your life, literally. That's a bad analogy, but you know, I know that I'm right about that one, that's for sure. Sometimes people want you to be less, and they will put you in a box just to make sure that you do. And it's your job as an impressionable individual to break out of that box. You know what electrifies me to get up in the morning is to make incredible content that helps somebody, that makes somebody feel alive, and that puts people on fucking notice that not a single person is going to put up with their bullshit, which a lot of grown adults think that their shit doesn't stink, which it definitely does. It's something I've had to learn the hard way this year. And if you're a young kid and you're like 20 and you want to like start day trading or something, just fucking take a course on it. Spend the money. There is nothing better than investing in yourself and then getting a mentor to invest into you without like nothing in return, just because you're amazing, is actually the fucking cheat code to life. It's cheat code, dude. I have learned that most grown adults probably had shit mentors because it's so evident too when you see an individual and a grown adult and you're like, why are you such a Scrooge? Right? Like you're thinking to yourself, like the Ebenezer Scrooge, like the Christmas Carol story, right? And then you're thinking like, who did you so dirty in life that you act like this? It's probably because they had shit mentors. And we can all feel hardened at some point in time and feel like, you know, in life that people suck. Yeah, trust me, people do suck. I know that's for sure. But a very important person came into my life last year and said, don't let the world harden you by everybody's shitty ass actions. Try very hard not to, even when it's like there's no way out and you're exhausted and you're wondering whether or not this is all going to work out. That mentor is there for you. I'm here for you. Like, I personally will legitimately drop my number in the description when this is uploaded just so everybody can text me. And we'll get like a small community going. Because whatever it is that you're going through, you're not alone. And if you need a mentor to guide you, to believe in you, and you don't have one, I'll be that for you. Because it doesn't cost me a single fucking thing to be kind. When a lot of people weren't to me. You got two choices in life, ladies and gentlemen. You're either going to, oh, dog dinner. That's why my eyes are itchy. You're either going to continue the cycle and not break it and continue being a toxic individual, or you're going to break it. And when you are chosen to break it, life will never fucking be easy for you. It will feel like punches over and over and over and over again. And you'll be wondering, why? But it goes back to what I originally said at the beginning of this episode, is that the crushing is there to mold you. The fire in which you are running through right now, and you feel like you're alone, and you feel like there's no way out to extinguish the fire, trust me, you're being molded in that fire. I know it sounds fucked up, but it's so true. Like, I've noticed, like, the more I've went through the fire in like the last year, I was like, oh my gosh, like this is not gonna end. No, it does. It does. Trust me, it definitely does because I'm noticing it now that I'm coming out of the crushing phase of my life, and I'm like, I'm not the same person I was 6 months ago. I think when you have brilliant individuals that care, love you, and support you and respect you and want the absolute best for you are around you, that happens. You evolve. And that's getting a mentor can literally speed up the process 4x of evolving and growing than you going and listen to Billy Bob in Iowa and taking his shitty ass advice. Sorry. That's absolutely true. You would be shocked at how many strangers will tell you you can do anything you want to do in this life as long as you fucking work your ass off for it. You don't take handouts unless you know, are that kind of person that, believes in receiving and not giving anything in return, which if you're that kind of person, I don't want you to listen to this. But if you're that person that I want to feel like I'm going to leave a positive impact on the world and be able to help somebody build a business or believe in themselves the way that someone else believes in you, guess what? You belong. You're meant for this. And the thing that I've learned stepping into mentoring phase in my young career too, like it's so uncomfortable because you feel like you're just not ready for it. You're like, like I've been mentored for like 4 years, and like all of a sudden God's making me mentor, like Jesus making me mentor, and you're like, this is so confusing. This absolutely sucks. I have no idea how to do this. Guess what? I've heard this 1,000 times in the last like 6 months. God calls the imperfect. He doesn't ask you to be perfect, he calls the imperfect. And when you when you realize, yeah, you might not be ready, but you're the only one that's got the courage to say it, that's how you know you're ready. It's a very uncomfortable phase. I won't lie. Because you're like, I have no idea how to do this. Because no one prepares you for this. No one. No one ever sits there and is like, yeah, let me just go through the toughest time of my life and let me just mentor a bunch of people. Like you're like, what the fuck? What is this? Right? But you get satisfaction in knowing that you're helping somebody become the best versions of themselves. Speak life into somebody. It doesn't cost you a thing to be kind. Like I said beforehand. There's a lot of people that call themselves a mentor and they don't deserve that title at all. They just don't. Because and another unfortunate lesson I've actually learned through mentors is people might take you as a mentee just so they can have control over you. Oh, another hot take. Let's get into this one too. Some mentors that come into your life want to take you as a mentee because they want to control you. because they see all the amazingness that you are, right? But yet they're like, damn, I don't have this. So I want this person close to me so I can make sure I can have this around me, but no one else gets access. And then somehow God reveals himself to you and he reveals that individual's motives and fucked up energy they have. And then you're like, wow, you suck. I want nothing to do with you. And then you wind up walking away. Or in my case, that I've had a bad mentor, she talked shit, and I had people that was nothing but kind to block me out of like the blue. So that one I definitely speak with experience. And that's unfortunate. So use your discernment really well and understand that some people just don't deserve access to you. And the people that want to see you do well, they'll never, ever, ever sit there and be like, I want control of your decisions. No. They'll never really talk shit about people at all because they don't have the time. People that are winning do not have time to talk shit about people at all day. They just don't. The only reason why I bring up that as an example is because of the fact that it's related to our t topic of mentorship. So that's the only reason why I bring it up. But other than that, I've been blessed. In my personal opinion, I think I've honestly had, let's see, one, two, three, about five in the last 4 years. Five mentors that have genuinely wanted to sit around me and understand who I am, to bring out the parts of me that were hidden and all the amazingness that those parts are, and extrapolate those things and bring them out to the planet so everybody else can see. That's what a great mentor does. They find the hidden parts of you that you feel like that are not great, that are great within you, and they help you be like, no, that needs to be shown. That beautiful part of you that's different, yeah, that's what makes you amazing. That helps the world. And for any of you wondering this, God made you one of one, baby. Don't ever second question that shit. He didn't make a mistake when he made you. He made you perfection. Stop acting like you were a mistake and start owning the fact that you're amazing, because you are. I speak from the soul when I say that because for a long time I didn't think I was. And now I get the honor and the privilege of making content like this, through all the life lessons and all the tribulations and the trials, to teach what I've learned over the years. And I think if any of y'all have a old soul within you, you're made for podcasting. People will just like naturally gravitate towards you. I've noticed that too in my very young years, and I was like, I don't understand why a lot of people just gravitate towards me. No, it's because you have an old soul. People want to talk to people that they feel the empathy and warmth come off of you. They do. That's a fact. And but you just have to be very careful about who you let close to you. Use that wisdom and that discernment within you guys to discern and filter out the people that necessarily may not belong near you. And like I said before earlier in the beginning, not everyone deserves access to you. People deserve your loving respect, absolutely. But not everyone deserves to be in your inner circle. That's where just good judgment comes from. That I learned the hard way too, because I was taught no boundaries. And going through hard times, I learned how not to ever go back to be disrespected. A good mentor is supposed to help you and guide you to your goals, whatever those may be for you. Whether that's starting a podcast or creating an Instagram page or, making a community that's going to help with, wildlife conservation. I only bring that up because I got a friend of mine that's very interested in that. Or make a community that focuses on women in surviving from abusive situations or abusive circumstances. Like whatever your guys' passion is, whatever lights you up in the morning and ignites that fire and that passion within you, you guys got to do it because you guys can relate. Normally, and this is what I've seen, is you actually do something for as a career because of something you went through your childhood. What I mean by that is that let's take me for an example, right? I didn't have the best childhood. If anybody's watched my story, you would know that. I had a very broken, very tumultuous childhood. So, what do I do now? I make content for a living, right? I make content to help business owners acquire more qualified leads through marketing. And on top of that, I just added an offer to help copywriters acquire high ticket clients by learning how to go back to the basics of copywriting and acquire new skills with AI. Once you understand your journey as a child to what you're doing now, it kind of makes a lot of sense. Because what I'm doing is I'm giving myself a platform to speak out. I make content that speaks to people when I didn't have a voice. So not only is this because it makes money, it's a passion, and I'm really fucking good at it. So when your creativity and you're building your empire is everything is going well, just have somebody checking in on you. Have someone and allow somebody to pour into your cup. I think that the worst thing that we could think of is allow anybody to go through this life alone. Entrepreneurship has a 1 in 4 ratio of depression. It's one of the most depressive career paths you can choose. It's entrepreneurship because you're the only one that understands your vision, and that's how it feels like. And that's how honestly the enemy gets to you, is thinking that you're the only one that's going through the same shit. But guess what? A lot of business owners, they're all going through the same shit. They're just not willing to talk about it. And sometimes it takes a brave person like myself to be able to be the one that calls it out. Really. And maybe that's you too. Maybe you're seeing the things in the world that you don't like, and it's like, why isn't anybody saying this? Did you ever think about, I don't know, starting a podcast? And before anybody says, like, there's so many podcasts out there, yeah, there's so many of them out there, but you're not telling the story the same way. You know what makes the podcast great? The host does. You do. Your personality, your ideology, your what you believe in. You are what makes it great. Ever think about it like that? I actually heard that from somebody in a DM in a text message. I was like, holy shit, that's awesome. That's literally brilliant. I didn't think about it like that, but that was literally excellent. So, if anything you get from This episode is this. Know that you're awesome. Get a mentor that believes in you and genuinely, a key word, genuinely understands you and wants the absolute best for you, sticks by your side and never lower your morals and never lower the standard. Just don't. Because the last thing you want to do is lose yourself. You just, life's too short for that. Life's too short to fold to the standards of others. So if they are shitty people, let them go be shitty people by themselves. And don't ever forget that you're awesome. Until next time.